Good afternoon and welcome back to the second game of today's doubleheader against Michigan Wolverines and your Kent State Golden Flashes in wonderful collegiate volleyball action. We already had one game earlier today where Michigan came away with a clean sweep 3-0 victory. We're going to see if Michigan can close that out today. I am, of course, Tim DeGrand. I've been here this morning, but I am no longer alone. I've been joined by my lovely, wonderful friend, Henry. Please introduce yourself to the people at home.
It's great to be here, everyone. Yeah, looking forward to this game. Interesting situation here. Game that was supposed to be played yesterday gets postponed today, so interesting to see how Kent State reacts to the game from earlier and what adjustments they make in terms of whether that's on the attack or on defense.
It's a great point. Earlier today, of course, Kent State did lose all three of those sets. First one was very tight, going over 25. It was 26-24 final, but the last two sets, Michigan really had a handle on both those, winning the last two 25-16 and 25-17 respectively. But even within that, in that 25-17, Michigan had 5 service errors in that last set. So Kent State really only scored about 12 points in that last set. So they really need to figure out how to get the offense moving a little bit more and how to stop Michigan from just taking control and just smothering their attack like they were able to do earlier on.
Yeah, and last year Michigan was one of the better serving teams too, so you don't expect them to have those mistakes again in this game. So yeah, really it's on Kent State to find a point, to find a place where they can put up some points, whether that's in taking some more of these Michigan attacks, or on the other hand, putting some of these balls away on the other side.
We're going to bring you now the starting lineups for your Michigan Wolverines. Should be pretty similar to what it was earlier on. We're going to be starting with the home state girl, the captain, Serena Nyambio. Serena's taken a massive step forward this year, already having these first 2 games, and she's going to be expected to do a lot more this year than she was last year. Of course, next we got Morgan Burke, the setter. In this morning's game, Morgan Burke got herself 26 assists on 35 kills, doing a really good job of kind of holding down and setting up for the rest of her teammates. Valentina Valuet, who led all players with 8 kills and had 4 aces in that first game. One of the best servers this team has, and looks to continue that. Kendall Ray, the grad transfer from Alabama, had 15 kills against Delaware, but really didn't play that much last game. We'll see if maybe Coach Virtue was just trying to save her legs for today, for the second game, excuse me. We'll see Jacque Boney, one of the other captains, one of the few senior who's been here for a while on this team. Maddie Cochran, the new libero, taking over for Hannah Grant's position. And last but not least, the final captain, Allison Jacobs, who is only her 3rd game back after a year-ending shoulder surgery last year. Is now her 3rd game back. She's been playing great so far.
Yeah, it's nice to see so many returners on the Michigan team for once. We were talking about this a little earlier, but from the 2022 season to 23, we kind of lost a lot of people, but there's definitely more continuity this year, and I think it's shown so far.
Absolutely. I got a chance to talk to both Maddie Cochran and Morgan Burke after the game on Friday, and they both said they kind of repeat the same kind of thing a few times throughout the interview, which was that this team is hungry. This is a team that feels like they are a lot better than they were last year, and also because of what we're talking about with how many kind of the changes from last year, the grad transfer of Kendall Ray coming in, Allison Jacobs coming back, that people don't know what this team can be. People are just thinking, oh, that's Michigan. They went 7-22. We have to take them seriously. But they know how good they are. They know that they're a much different team from last year, and they can't wait to show it. And so far, 2-0, they've shown it to Delaware, to Kent State once already. Let's see if they can do that again.
Yeah, and you can never underestimate the value of just like camaraderie and also like being on the same page, especially in volleyball. It's a team, it's a sport where even the slightest differences, an overset maybe, or the time being stopped right on a hit, and just those small things affect the game so much for a team. And just having that continuity where you have the same setters, the same hitters, the same liberos, it's great for a team like Michigan.
Exactly. You talk about continuity, Henry. Michigan in each of these first 2 games, the first set earlier today against Kent State and against Delaware, Michigan came out the gates really, really slow. It took them a while to kind of get their foot and kind of get that working together. So we'll see if they can jump right today as we begin. Haley Brenner serving once more for Kent State as we are now underway. Berkson sets one up for Valuet on the left side, but a great stop there. Gets right back over to Michigan. Berkson set again, this time for Ray. But right there for it is Henderson. The Kent State attack is going to go through. It's going to be out of bounds off the blockers of Michigan. Point for Kent State, and Kent State striking early here in our first set.
Yeah, it was a good tool off the block there. Block was a little late. Didn't get in time to get set up, and right off the block, right out of bounds.
Brenner serve on the way. Cochran's there for Burks and set. This time for Nyambio, center of the net, and gets it through. Serena Nyambio, like we've talked about, starting to work a little more on the outsides, but she is still the best middle blocker on this team, and she eats in the middle of that net. We saw it right there. No one's able to stop that one.
Yeah, that was a great first pass, and you know, first passes are so key in volleyball. When you get that, that's when you can run those effective middle offenses.
Absolutely. Kendall Ray serving and immediately serves that one into the net. Service error early on. We've talked about how those have been a struggle for Michigan, both in Delaware and the first game this morning. Let's see if they can tighten that up. Serve goes back to Kent State. It's going to be number 1, Greta Bolognini. Serve handle well. Brooks going to get a good set here for Jacobs. Jacobs going cross court. Gets it through off the hands of Henderson and falls for a point.
Yeah, that block, right off the block, tipped it a little bit. The Bolognini, the libero on the other side, just couldn't react to it.
Serve goes back. Michigan, we're tied at 2s. And Trixie McMillan, the freshman, coming in to serve. We've seen a lot of her just coming in for these serves. And had 3 aces in a row in that second set last game. Great little save there from Michigan, keeping this rally alive. Jacobs sends it over. It's going to be an attack opportunity from Kent State. Not the best. Still getting a little bit of pressure, though. Valuet trying to push it through right to Kent State defenders. It's going to be Henderson trying to attack. Gets it through the defense of Jacobs and Boney. And same thing we've seen in all these sets so far today. Very back and forth. Teams trying to feel each other out. No one can quite get an advantage just this early.
Yeah, Logan Henderson finding a great spot right down the line there, right around the block.
McMillan goes back out. So is Nyambio. Going to take a quick break. Serve comes from Henderson. Jacobs fields it. It's going to be set back to her from Burke. And another kill for Jacobs off the bat. Great job there, finding his way through.
Yeah, going outside early. Outside in the middle. Doing a lot of work for Michigan so far.
Jacobs with 2 kills already. They've gone back to that well twice, and she's been doing great so far this season. And here comes Valentina Valuet, the rocket for an arm. Oh, and a sneaky dump there, but Cochran diving dug it out. And Jacobs that time put a little bit too much on it, out of bounds, and that's a point for Kent State again.
I like the idea there from Harvey. Tries to dump it right in the middle, but Michigan was there.
And a great job from Cochran. They're diving in just to get a hand under it and keep the rally alive. Serving now is going to be Karina Salinas for Kent State. Didn't see a lot of her in the first game. Let's see if it changes up now. Jacobs stack blocked. Kent State struggling to keep it alive. Is able to do so. Jacobs going to try again. Working through defense, not quite. Attack from Kent State working his book. Burke just dumps it back over. And a great block there from Jacobs, but even better save from Bolognini keeping this alive. Jacobs going to try again, and that one finally goes through.
Yeah, unlucky for Kent State there. Bolognini was all over the place. A little bit of a scramble. You know, Michigan finally got it up. Jacobs seals the deal for them. A little too fast for Bolognini.
That was a crazy rally. There was going all around, diving saves here and there. And Bolognini, too, have a couple of those until that last one where she
very impressive.
Couldn't quite bring it in. All tied up at 4 now. Jacobs serving, and this one just puts a little too much on. Another service error for these Wolverines, and that point goes to Kent State. 5-4, staying tight, so now and service is going to go back. It's going to be number 8, Nadia Miller, someone else we didn't see a lot of, a true freshman out of Bowling Green. Burke sets this one up for Boney on the right side. Great dig there by Miller, but unfortunately couldn't keep it on the court. Ends up in the stands, and Michigan ties once again.
Yeah, that's Michigan's first time hitting from the opposite. Maybe surprised them a little bit.
See how that keeps continuing as Maddie Cochran now gets a chance to serve this one over. Receive welcoming a great attack here coming from Kent State with a better dig from Cochran. Here comes Ray on the attack. Great dig out there from Berner. Rally still going. Nyambio on the right side. Sneaks it in the bound for the point.
Nice play from Michigan there. Nyambio and Burke on the same page there, going for a little back set right down the line.
We've started to see that a lot from Nyambia this year. Didn't see her move much from the middle last year, but now she's starting to get comfortable working that outside. Cochran serving again. Loves going to that opposite side for it. Attack dug out. Nyambia trying to keep it alive, and unfortunately it's going to be one hit too many.
Yeah, and going back to that play from earlier, it's nice when your setter and your middle have some continuity. You know, you can try some more things, not just going for your standard, you know, right down the middle, but, you know, you can try some back sets, mix it in a little bit.
Here comes a serve from Kendall White, who's checked in now for Kent State. A little fake out there. Faked out Nyambia going for Valuet. Unfortunately, though, Valuet, as she off does, but still too much spice on that one. Out of bounds.
Tried to confuse him with a little bit of the same play there, but went for the C ball instead and out of the back row. Just a little too much and just past that back line.
So we are going to get Coach Virtue challenging for a touch on that one.
Yeah, there might have been. Seemed like a good play design. It was also just past that line, so maybe there was a little bit of a skim there.
Yeah, it could be. We'll see. We'll keep you updated with that. They're not showing replays in the stadium yet. We can't show anything. I will say it is so great having a color guy who's played volleyball before, so you can say things like C-ball and stuff that I've never once known. I just found out. I just found out a dump is called that. I would call it the fake set swipe for like a year, and I just found out from Coach Virtue that's called a dump, like 2 days ago. It is my favorite move in volleyball, though. A dump. I love it.
The setter dump, the sneaky ones where they go for those fake sets. They do a little one-handed dump. My setter used to love to do that. But yeah, C-ball, my high school team used to run the C-ball a lot. It's, we call the C-ball just the opposite, but in the back row. It's one of the most popular ones, especially because
you fake the outside hitter, and the person in the back row knows they got to come up and get it from the, from the outside.
So what happens is when you're on a rotation in volleyball, when your setter ends up in the opposite position, they're still setting from there. They're setting your middle and your outside hitter, but you're still going to have an opposite, but that opposite is coming from the back row. And so that's what you call a C-ball. But yeah, we used to run that play a lot. That fake, that little fake where they used to run, we had a good middle who used to like to hit those middle back sets.
Yeah.
And so we would run that pretty much that same play where we would fake it to the opposite in the back row there.
Beautiful. This is what's like having a true box.
But yeah, Michigan exploring a little early, going through some different attacks. Although the 2 points from those serves actually serving is still a little bit of an issue here.
Exactly. So far, 2 service errors already. It's only 6-7 right now. We mentioned earlier that during that first game, Michigan had 10 service errors as opposed to Kent State 6, and 5 of those came in the. Excuse me. We had a couple, and we had a lot of those coming in that third set, which was already a dominant victory by Michigan, but Michigan giving that many more points to Kent State. Looks like the call stands as is. Kent State will keep the lead 7-6. Brooks sets here for Nyambia, and that's going to be a point. White couldn't bring it in.
Going right back to Nyambia on that same play. Seems to be working quite effective, 2 for 3.
Yeah, and that's something that Coach is talking about that they added new for this year, looking to expand Nyambia's role a little bit. As we come back to Michigan's serve, Morgan Burke. Cochran's able to dig out the return attack. Some miscommunication there. Jacobs couldn't get a clean attack. So Henderson is going to get a good look here for Kent State, but unfortunately cannot convert. It's a little too much out of bounds, and Michigan gets the lead back 8-7 now.
And both teams kind of settling in. Here comes the service from Michigan.
Burke keeps it. It's received well. It's going to be attack opposite side. Can't quite dug out. Burke was just a second too late on that one.
Beautiful roll just over the block by the outside hitter for Kent State. I believe that was number 2.
Number 2, Avery Rigney, who we did not see in the first game. Kent State a lot more so than Michigan as a serve from Brenner comes on. We're seeing a lot more new players. Ooh, and a nice quick little kill from Nyambia. Looked like it was a little bit maybe out of position. Burke was kind of off balance on the set, but Nyambia was still finished.
Yeah, those are great instincts by Burke from the setter. Cheeky little one-hand set to Nyambia there.
Kendall Ray's going to serve. But yeah, we're talking about Kent State's putting a lot more people we didn't see in that first game getting them in now. We'll see if that continues. There's a point there from number 17, Alexandra Canaster.
Yeah,
we saw a little bit of it in the first game, but not as much.
Kent State trying out different rotations, maybe something different from last game. Hopefully that helps them,
Here comes Greta Bolognini serving this one away for Kent State. Tied at 9. Looks like maybe a little miscommunication there from Michigan. Cochran had to go and dive to get the ball from her teammate. And a clean, easy kill by number 8, Nadia Miller. Put that one right over the middle of the net.
Yeah, Kent State going through the middle. Kind of doing what Michigan was doing to them a little earlier.
Serve from Bolognini is a little bit too much, and that's out. Service error for Kent State.
Yeah, returning the favor for Michigan.
Game still tied, still very even.
Couple substitutions here.
She's McMillan now coming back in for her serve. Shoots this over, received very well. Clean set from White, attack from Henderson, and that finds its way in. Textbook right there. And Kent State just staying a step ahead of Michigan all throughout this first set.
Yep. Interesting rotation earlier. The libero was off, but not for a middle. He was off, I believe, for perhaps another libero there. Number 28, the freshman.
Henderson serves away. Jacobs there to receive for it. That's Boney, attacking middle, and Boney getting it through. The back and forth continues. Neither team's been able to get a true advantage at this point.
Both teams taking advantage of the middle there. Having a lot of success using those middle blockers, whether that's, just through the standard middle set or through those back sets.
Valentina Valuet on the serve.
Ooh, what a serve.
And that's going to go down as an ace with the serve error, as we see so frequently with these Valentina Valuet serves, who's got a rocket for an arm. Even if you can get in front of it, you have no control where that ball is going. It popped up back over the net, back out of bounds.
Yeah, it's rare you see a rocket like that. But she really has been just powering these serves. Sends another one over.
This one, Kent State able to get a little bit cleaner, but no attack opportunity on that one. So Michigan's going to get another clean attempt here from Boney. That's going to be another point for Michigan, even though it was blocked, stayed on that Kent State side and falls for the point.
Yeah, and that's one of those benefits when you have a great server and the other team can't get a good first touch. You get a free ball over the net, and you get a great chance on an attack.
Valuet led the team last year with 36 aces, had 4 this morning. Kent State's return attack not working. Again, that C gap with Valuet this time didn't quite work. We're going to try with Jacobs on the opposite side now, blocked at the net, but out of bounds. Point goes to Michigan. That was Miller and White were both there for it, but neither one was able to fully stop the attack.
That was a better service by Farad at that time. Hopefully she can get another one up.
Back to serve from Valuet. 4-0 run for the Wolverines ends with Valuet putting that one into the net. That is the kind of boom or bust nature of Valentina Valuet. She's got one of the strongest arms I've ever seen from a volleyball player.
Yeah.
But there's still a little bit of that inconsistency where she can go in these runs where she gets 4 aces in the game, but also does have her fair share of service errors as well.
Yep, and as a coach, sometimes you just have to live with those.
Especially with how great she can be. Reception very well there from Michigan. Jacobs trying to attack, but another great block there from Miller and White. Attack from the center. Gets its way through for Kent State. Number 9, Karina Salinas. We did not see a lot of in that first game. Already getting going early in the second one.
Yeah.
Second kill on the
back
day.
row there.
Salinas will keep the serve. As Kent State looks to start pulling away from Michigan here. Burke sets for Boney in the middle. And a great dive from Bolini, but was not there in time. Boney gets another kill here in the early goings. Boney's got 4, Jacobs got 4, and Nyambio's got 4. We're only 15 points in. You're now getting Allison Jacobs serving. And that one drops almost, a great recovery from Kent State. and they get the point off the hands of Kendall Ray going out of bounds.
Yeah, that was a great tool there by Nadia Miller. Saw the block, just kind of pushed it off to the side and out of bounds.
Now serving number 8, Nadia Miller gets it through. Burke with the dump, and a great little behind the head dump.
Great
gets
timing.
The point.
Great timing from Burke there. The middle blocker committed to the block for the outside and just left her wide open for that dump.
And that's what you get for going just a second early. Burke's been so great at those dumps last year when she took over and the early goings this year. Cochran with the serve, fielded well by Faruda. Some weird happenings there right at the net. I think Michigan interrupted whatever Kent State was planning. Kendall Ray with a great attack there, popped way up into the sky, but Kent State keeps it going. Return attack from Ray, not quite. Reception goes back over the net. Set for Jacobs in the middle, going after Faruda. Faruda's there for it. And Kendall Ray pops it over for the point. That ball just hovers the net for a little bit too long, and Ray punished them for their lack of ball control.
Yeah, great rally there. A little bit of back and forth, a little bit of a mishap on the net there, but Kendall Ray smashes it down the line for the point.
Here comes Cochran again with the serve. Set from White. It's going to be attacking from Miller. Not quite. Great sliding dig there by Jacobs. Ray's going to attack, going towards back corner.
Good touch by Faruda there.
Attack this one from Salinas, not quite working. Kent State trying again, but Michigan's still there for it. Ray wants that back corner, doesn't get it. Salinas going from the left side across, doesn't quite. Nyambio does though. And another great rally ends up the point for Michigan. This time it's Serena Nyambio killing it through the blockers. As we get our first timeout. 18-14 now, working into the end of the first set here. Michigan start to establish a solid lead.
Yeah.
And what are a couple of things you've been seeing from Michigan Stack that's worked so well these last couple points, allowing them to get to this point?
Well, I think there have been a couple of scramble plays, but Michigan has, been able to capitalize on the attacks there. Kent State, well, this is obviously credit to Maddie Cochran, Michigan's libero, but Michigan doing a lot to get a touch on these hits, keeping them off the ground. But Kent State, on the other hand, can't really seem to. Well, Michigan seems to be capitalizing a little more on their attacks. Finding the open space in the defense there. But yeah, I would say that's the biggest difference. Really, once Kent State can start to find those gaps, whether that's in the block or maybe on the back line, but once they find those spaces, hopefully they can find some points too.
Yeah, and another interesting thing, we kind of touched on it briefly, but so far today, Kent State in the second game has been playing a lot of people who didn't show up in that first game. Nadia Miller did not make any appearances. The freshman middle blocker did not make a single appearance. Karina Salinas only really started showing up in that third set. Tylee Fuller's been out there once or twice. She was not the first one at all. And we have not seen Mackenzie McGuire or Liliana Mechura, who were the two leading scorers in that first game. So it kind of begs the question of what is kind of the plan here from Coach Haley Eckerman in her third season here in Kent State. What's the kind of plan here? Are we just trying a different look? Are we trying to kind of see what you got from some of your more bench players and some of your freshmen? But the top players we were expecting to see try to come and steal a game from Michigan here have been on the bench this whole time.
Yeah, well, I guess sometimes when things don't work, you try to throw a wrench in that tool and maybe something happens.
And we'll see how that continues to work for them as we return to action here. Cochran still serving. Salinas attacking.
Ball just creeps over the net there.
Stays on the net and kind of rolls over it. Ray returns attack. Salinas is there for it. Nyambio at the net, though, contesting. It's going to be Miller on the opposite side getting the final attack. Not happening. In the middle, Jacobs. And a great kill for Jacobs.
Yeah.
A diving hand of Faruda was not enough.
Jacob comes down the pipe, kind of giving Kent State a little bit of what they've been trying with Salinas.
Cochran still serving another 4-0 run for these Wolverines. Received well. It's going to be Miller on the far side, coming across, and doesn't quite get it. Out of bounds. And there's
just barely
20.
misses the line there on the cross.
So she had the right idea. No one was home, but
Yeah, Michigan decided, I think, to block line there, and so cross court was open just a little too far.
Cochran serving again. Again going after Furuta. Berkson sets one up for Nyambio on the backside. Kent State's there for it. It's going to be Salinas in the middle. But Valuet digs out great. Ray going across and gets it.
Kent State really falling in love with Salinas through the pipe here. That back row seems to, you know, have some success early, but Kendall Ray for Michigan finishing those points.
Serving still from Cochran. A little dump there from the Golden Flash. Didn't quite work, but Michigan kind of ends their run themselves after 6 straight points out of bounds, and Kent State will get the serve back at last. 21-15, Michigan 4 points away from ending this first set off. Serve from White. Ray's gonna get an attack. Blocked at the net though, just barely got it over. Looked a little funky, but Michigan stays alive for another attack, this time from Valuet. Not quite, but Burke just tries to send it back over. Golden Flash though, did a really good job of getting in position. Burke again just kind of sending it over. Michigan hasn't had a good attack look in a second here. They're gonna go across to Ray, and Ray just manages to sneak over, pulls back in the last second, and works it right over the end of those defense.
Yeah, really smart play from Ray there. She's been putting a lot of power behind her hits, and then on that one just kind of brings it back a little, you know, rolls it over the block and right into the middle of the court there.
22-15, Burke serving, hoping to end it here with her set. Henderson attacking, and Henderson scoring, attacking Jacobs in that back row.
Nice to see a little more aggression behind those attacks from Kent State. I think I've been seeing a lot of tipping and a lot of rolling, but it's nice to see Henderson really put some strength behind that one.
Henderson finally checked back in, took a little breather for a while. Haley Brenner now serving. Haven't said her name in a second. 22-16, Michigan still trying to get to the end. Vala attacking the back line. Was touched.
Comes off the block.
Off the block, so Michigan gets the point. That's going to be Kendall Ray to serve, as Michigan is 2 points away. Ray sends it. And Nyambio's there to clean up, but Kent State somehow stays in it. It's going to be set back to Valuet, who finds Pater in the middle there. And set point has been reached for the first time for Michigan.
Well, let's hit just smashing that 3-meter line there.
Looking to end it here with a serve from Ray. Sends it. Bolanini gets it. It's going to be an attack from Salinas, but blocked by Nyambio and Valuet. But it's going to be given to Kent State. Blocking violation, or blocking error, excuse me. Still set point. It's going to be Bolanini serving. There it is. Cochran digs. Burke sets. Valuet is blocked by Salinas.
Great touch there by Salinas.
This is going to return. It was tipped at the line by Nyambio and Valuet, but makes its way over. Point for Kent State. Making a little bit of a last gasp, a little bit of a death rattle, if you will.
Perhaps making this a little interesting.
Service handled well. It's going to be a set for Nyambio in the middle, and the interest is immediately squashed.
Yep.
Nyambio kills in the middle of the net, and Michigan wins their first set of today, their 4th consecutive set against Kent State.
Yeah,
25-18. How do you feel about that first set, Henry?
Yeah, it was really good. I think Michigan found a lot of success with Nyambio, with Ray, through the middle, through the outside. You know, tried to run some trick plays there, whether that's from the pipe with Jacobs or the C balls. But yeah, I think Michigan has just been more successful than Kent State on the net, and whether that's through blocking, getting a touch on those hits, which is so crucial in a point, because it softens the hit so much, allowing the back line for Michigan to get the ball up. But yeah, Michigan so far dominating the net, especially. Looking for, Kent State to, I think, put a little more aggression behind some of their attacks. Maybe try some new things. They've been trying to hit Salinas, whether that's through the pipe or through the outside quite a bit. Maybe mix that up. But yeah, interesting to see what head coach Eckerman draws up for the next set.
In that first set, Kent State 12 kills, Michigan 21. 3 service errors for Michigan, though. Only one for Kent State. 1 ace for the Wolverines going to Valentina Valuet. Kent State actually out-digging Michigan at the moment, 26 digs to 22. Neither team, though, recording a block yet, which we'll look to see if that continues, or if Michigan can start getting back to that, because Michigan was so great. Nyambio had 6 blocks in the first game today. And Nyambio currently leading all players with 6 kills in that first set. Jacobs had 5, Boney had 4, Ray had 3, Valuet had 2, and Burke had 1. Look at that nice little cascade there. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We didn't even plan that out, folks.
Yeah, despite those block numbers showing 0, the number of touches that people have been able to get on the blocks are crucial for both teams. A lot of these hits could be scores, if not for these slight little touches, whether it grazes or somebody's head or something like that. Just pops it up that little bit, giving people enough time to get under it. But yeah.
And still just that presence of being right in the net, and you've just got, Nyambio, Boney, Burke right there waiting. I think that might be one of the reasons why we've seen him do that Salinas from like the 3-meter line so much, is because going up to that net has been working for them, especially that last game. They really were having struggles operating in the traditional corners of the net, so they've been maybe trying to switch it up, going with Salinas a little more further back to try to circumnavigate a little bit those blocks that Michigan has in front.
Certainly do see that, especially with a little bit of the tips, trying to get around the block rather than go through it. But yeah, we'll see how that keeps going for the second set.
In that first set for the Kent State Golden Flashes, Karina Salinas led with 4 kills. Loka Henderson had 3. Avery Rigney had 2 in her limited action. Nadia Miller has 2, and Alexandria Conitzer has 1 as well. They, as like I said, have 0 blocks or names yet. Kendall White has actually been the primary setter so far, 9 assists to her name. Morgan Burke, 18 assists on 21 kills. She's such a core part of this offense now. Ever since taking over for Sky Johnson last year, the starting job for about the last dozen or so games, and she just come in and she's immediately hit her stride, setting to all areas, all corners, cross court behind. She's been great so far today.
Yeah, as we look forward to this second set, about to tip off here.
As we are here in Ann Arbor for the debut weekend of this volleyball team, we also now finally have the debut of the Michigan Volleyball Band, who's made their first appearance. They'll be here at many games throughout the year. They had their first performance yesterday with the Fresno State game, doing the celebrations halftime show honoring the 200th birthday of Ann Arbor, the national championship, the beginning of Coach Rome Moore's career. And they'll be here kind of providing a soundtrack for today at least, and for many other games, as we begin the second set with Burke serving.
Yeah, great start by Kent State here, going through the middle. Number 15, I believe that's Logan Henderson.
Here comes, and now Haley Brenner going to be serving. She had the most serves for this Kent State team today.
Great serve.
Great serve there, and a little bit of trouble on Michigan's side. Ray couldn't really receive it cleanly, popped it right back up at the net, and there was Kent State to punish.
Yeah, as a receiver, those are the type of things, the receptions that are like kind of nag at you a little bit. The ones that are just over the net that are perfect for those the hitters.
This time they're able to handle it well. Valuet goes to attack, but a block there from Henderson and Conitzer. Excuse me, I can't say that name right for whatever reason. I apologize to the Conitzer family.
Yeah, Kent State started off strong in the net this set.
3-0. Kent State showing some signs of life, saying we're not done yet. Nyambio attacking center net. Henderson digs it. We have a whistle.
I believe it was across the line on the bottom of the net there.
Yeah, I believe
Kent
that
State.
was That was Henderson, I believe, who's diving, trying to keep that play alive, and incidentally crossed that center line. So that point's going to go to Michigan. Finally kind of give Michigan a quick reprieve from this laser that Kent State's come out with. And now Kendall Ray getting a chance to serve.
Ooh, what a service by Kendall Ray.
And the ace.
Little too much pace for Furuta.
Furuta could not bring it in. Ricochet straight off back to her friends on the bench.
Perhaps a little bit of a communication error there. It was right between Furuta.
I believe that's Renner number 4 on the opposite side of that. Yeah. And Michigan gives it right back as Ray puts way too much on that one. Out of bounds. Service error directly following the ace. Which is also another common trend we saw with this team this weekend of getting those aces and then instantly following those up with an error. We saw a few times against Delaware. We're now seeing it for a second time today.
Yeah, service is it's interesting like that.
Another point for Kent State. Another great block. We were talking about there no blocks in that first set. Kent State's got 2 in the early goings here. I think that was Henderson, but this time it was with Nadia Miller helping her out.
Yeah, great presence in the middle there for Miller.
Serve from Furuta. Burke sets it up for Jacobs.
And
another block. Again, Miller and Henderson.
Yeah, Kent State reading this Michigan offense a lot better this time, setting up the block in time, getting their hands across the net.
Kent State's on fire right now.
And
that's going to be a service ace from Furuta. You saw that was, I'm pretty sure that was Jacobs and Cochran, who both just let it go, think it was going to be out, and just clipped that line.
Yeah, dipped just enough at the end there.
And another, as it's again Kendall Ray, who's unable to receive the serve cleanly.
Yeah, Ray experiencing a little bit of difficulty early as Michigan calls a timeout here.
They go to that all Ray. Coach Virtue has to just stop the bleeding at this point.
Yeah.
Kent State 8-2, a 4-0 run. I guess that losing 4 sets in a row was finally enough for them to be like, forget this. We gotta get one of these now.
Yeah, I expect Ray to be shielded a little bit on the next play as they look to get a nice first touch, a nice reception from Michigan.
Also got to wonder because Ray didn't really play all that much in the first game. Looks like Virtue was trying to save Ray for the second one, but you wonder if maybe by doing so, Ray's a little cold a little bit. She was standing around watching the entire game of volleyball, then had about 2 hours of just going back to the locker room, sitting, probably eating a quick snack, then like warming back up again. If you wonder if the warming up, then cooling down, the warming back up, if something in there, because if you remember, volleyball usually doesn't do double headers. This is the first doubleheader for Michigan since 1986.
Yeah, and it looks like coach is going for a substitution. Ray's coming off for the freshman, Ella Demetrician.
Ella Demetrician coming back, and we saw her playing a lot in that first game, making her debut, and had 7 kills and played really, really well. 7 kills, an ace.
Yeah, sometimes these substitutions are quick. It's really just to get them past this point that they're struggling. I think Ray can be expected to be subbed back on, especially since she's so effective on the front line there.
Absolutely. We are back from the timeout. 8-2, Kent State. Furuta still has the serve. It's going to be Nyambio in the middle and does what she does best. There was nobody absolutely parted the sea like Moses in the desert, and there was no one there to stop that attack from Nyambio. And back in comes McMillan, the freshman, the serving specialist at this point, comes in for her serves and then promptly exits. But she's been doing pretty good with these serves, so we'll see how she keeps them now.
She sure has.
It's been receivable. It's going to be an attack from Henderson. Blocked at the net, but no one was behind. So that point goes to Kent State. McMillan tried to dive in at the last moment, but couldn't quite get there. Nyambio and Cochran are coming back in for McMillan. Oh, no, excuse me. Nyambio's still out. It was just McMillan going out for Cochran.
Yeah, McMillan playing just a little too deep that time. Couldn't get the ball that just rolled over that block.
Harrison serve. It's going to be set for Jacobs on the outside. And there it is. Off the hands of the defender. And Jacobs is finally showing up again in the second set.
Yeah, Jacobs looked incredibly determined there on that hit.
He's like, we need
fly into the
we need
outside.
to end this. We are not losing anymore. We gotta get this thing going. And now with Valentina Valuet with her rocket serve, see if she can keep that momentum moving.
Oof.
And just out.
beyond the back line there.
And Kent State hits 10 early in the second set. If that dropped just a second earlier, that would have been an ace for Valuet, her second on the day. Her second in the game, her sixth on the day. Serve from Salinas. Give me a cross attacking Jacobs. And a great job from Jacobs.
Great set. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard for setters to really get enough distance and height, especially on those like jump sets. But great push from Burke there to the outside.
And Jacobs now comes to serve herself. And Jacob lobs this one in. Ooh. And it's laid up right at the net for the freshman Demetrician.
And she just dumps it right down.
That was Tylee Fuller, who was there in the reception and just couldn't quite get enough of it to control it. And Demetrician was ready. Jacobs again with her high arcing serves. Fuller this time handles it a little bit better.
Ooh, that was just past the line. See, sometimes those serves can be tricky because you're expecting a faster pace, either a float serve or a jump serve, and sometimes those lobs kind of mix up the rhythm, and yeah, they can be tricky on the reception.
And especially with so far in these first couple of games, Jacobs always serving after Valuet, who does have those rockets and missiles. It's almost like the changeup in baseball, where now you come in and you've got just these big, high arcing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that right there, Faruda had to dive up to the front because they're playing too far back. Michigan trying to keep this thing alive. Valuet gets a good attack. Faruda misses it a little bit, but Kent State keeps it alive. Burke's in set for Boney.
Ooh, what a block. One-on-one from Simmons.
And look who it is. Mackenzie McGuire finally back in.
Oh, yeah, that was McGuire. My fault.
McGuire gets the block there. We have not seen her all day, but now here she is. And it's going to be a service ace for Nadia Miller. Nadia Miller, excuse me. I don't know why I said weird like that. Nadia Miller steps into the serving box. Cochran just couldn't get under it.
Yeah, and sometimes those receptions where they just kind of graze your arms or like graze your hands on the set and they just go in the back, those are the toughest to handle.
Nadia Miller, another ace. That one, again, Cochran kind of letting it go, but just hits the line. This set, Kent State's been very lucky, and Michigan's been very unlucky with those serves close to the line.
Second one of the set for Kent State that just kind of dips enough at the end to hit that back line.
But Nadia Miller gives it right back, hitting that one into the net.
Yeah, this one dipping a little too early.
Michigan getting a little bit of a reprieve. Kent State's onslaught has been persistent from the very beginning of the second set. And Michigan's looks like they've been playing a little bit on the back foot as they've been trying to figure out a way to recover. Cochran now gets the serve. Looking to see if they can make something happen here.
Nice pass from Salinas.
It's going to be McGuire attacking. Didn't quite get through. Naeema's going to come on the outside and gets it right in.
Yeah, McGuire completely deceived there. Committed to the middle, jumped, set to the back. What a hit there from Naembio. Naembio and Burke. I believe that's the first time they ran that play this set.
It's been the first time they've at least scored from it. Little miscommunication on Kent State for a bit, but they got it under control. And Michigan unable to recover from the dump, catching them off guard.
Yep.
They were able to keep the ball alive, but not in control, and it ends up with Kent State scoring again.
Yeah, and that's the tricky thing about having great hitters, but a great setter as well. As you don't want to be too far up, but you also don't want to be too far back, and sometimes that can mess you up on the reception.
Demetrician's attack off the white serves handled well by Kent State. McGuire's attack was blocked, tipped, and Michigan keeps it alive for Demetrician again, but diving save there from Bolanini. And finally, the McGuire attack gets through, and 15-9. Kent State starting to close in on potentially winning this set. Michigan would need a remarkable run to come back at this point.
Yeah, Kent State cleaning up a lot of the errors they had from the last set and even the last game, actually. As they go right back.
They go back to well.
Nyambio.
Nyambio going to the outside, back to that well. She's been great all day today. Nyambio has her 9th kill.
Yeah, and if something works, just keep going at it until they change something.
Serve here's from Burke. It's going to be attack from McGuire. Blocked at the net. Diving save by Burke keeps it alive. It's going to be Valuet. And blocked right back. It was McGuire and it was Knetzer who were right there for it. And that's 16-10. Back in comes Haley Brenner to serve now for Kent State, but they are dominating the second set.
Yeah, the middle blockers for Kent State this set doing a lot, reading the Michigan attack really well.
Serve from Brenner, a little bit of trouble handling it on this Michigan side, and it's going to result in a violation. This is a line violation for Michigan, and then Kent State gets that point.
Yeah.
As another timeout has to be called by Coach Virtue to figure out what happens. Michigan is now down 7, which is the biggest they've trailed all day today.
Michigan's struggling a lot with their first touch, and I was talking about this a little before the game, but the first touch is just so crucial for a team. If you can't get a great first touch, your setter has to scramble, and the set isn't always perfect for your hitters, and then the hitters can't get enough strength behind that ball. And that really just has been setting up Kent State. You know, the hits aren't as aggressive, so they're able to get those up, and they're actually capitalizing a lot too on the net. And so yeah, it's a great start for Kent State. You know, sometimes when you allow those first touches to get into your head a little, they kind of add on and keep getting worse. I've had that kind of an experience where you miss 1 or 2 and you start to doubt yourself a little, and when that happens, you know, the ball tends to find you somehow even more than usual. And
it feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's also, I think you bring up an interesting point there about Michigan not getting those clean sets and attacks anymore, because like we just saw with Serena Nyambio, that was the textbook play they've been running.
Exactly.
It was a clean set, Nyambio was right in position, and it was an easy point. But it seems like in a lot of other ones, you said it great, they're not getting the first touch. They're scrambling a lot. It's a lot of like off balance, like Morgan Burke. She was able to cover a little bit earlier, but now she's not getting those great sets, and they're not attacking where they want to.
Just like you said, Michigan, when they're running a well-oiled offense, when they get a great first touch, great set, Nyambio, such a dangerous weapon. I mean, their entire front line are so good, you know, but when they can't get it set like that, they've been struggling.
Back from timeout, service still on Brenner. And there's that rough first touch.
Yeah,
Demetrician error.
Yeah, Brenner actually has a really interesting serve. So in volleyball, you have to serve between the lines, but she actually starts outside and moves her way in. I think that helps her to serve a little closer to the sideline there and just, you know, messes up the passers just a little bit.
And there it is. There's Demetrician coming right back for the kill.
Yeah.
And like we were just saying, Michigan got a good first touch off of Cochran, and they will get a clean set and score. And now it's 11-18. Demetrician's got the serve. She was doing pretty good earlier today. But this time she messes up into the net. And Kent State's at 19. They're about to close this set out in dominating fashion.
This is an interesting rotation for Michigan because
Demetrician again, not the best first touch. Michigan this time is able to control it a little bit better. Salinas attacking. Outside, no touch. No,
it seems like there was a touch off the block there.
It was a late indication by the official.
Yeah, official checking with her line ref there.
So it stays. It's Furuta serving. Furuta getting a lot more playing time in this second game. Nyambio center net, but touched the net as she was going. So
it's a great play for Michigan. Unfortunate that she just came down a little bit on the net there.
Came down just a little bit too hot coming in. It's a 10-point lead. It's the biggest lead we've seen for either team today. Burke sets for Valuet.
Ooh, what an up!
Somehow keeping it alive off the net does Kent State.
Wow, what a play from Kent State. putting their bodies on the line quite literally. And a great reaction from great reaction there to just dig it off the net there from Harvey.
Serve still to Fruta. And Miller, that first touch going way up at the net. And Miller just there to slam it home, 23-11.
Yeah, and by the looks of it, Kent State's going to close out this set.
Serve from Fruta. Again, that first touch close and that Michigan is able to at least get it over this time. Henderson attacking, out of bounds. Point is going to go to Michigan.
Tried to roll it, just rolled it a little too far.
Now Michigan does still have a chance if they score 13 consecutive points.
It'll be interesting to see how Michigan handles the end of this set and how that carries forward to the next set. Because sometimes you can you can drop a set, but you just have to put that behind you, and it's how you carry yourself forward into the next one that matters.
McMillan serving, a tough reception there from Kent State, but they're able to recover. Block for Michigan, but out of bounds. Point to Kent State. It's now a set point for Kent, their first one today. And honestly, they got swept 3-0 by Delaware yesterday, too. It's their first set point of the season for them, really.
Yeah, Kent State did a lot of good this set. Fixed a lot of errors. Michigan, on the other hand, committed a lot more errors.
Henderson serve. Another rough first touch. Miller was again there for it. It's going to be Jacob attacking.
Yeah, I believe that was 4 touches.
Touching error
from Michigan.
Illegal touching from Michigan. That's 1-1. Kent State, after dropping 4 consecutive sets to Michigan in both of the doubleheaders, now wins.
Yeah, it's interesting because sometimes when you beat a team, well, so far today it's been 4 sets in a row, right? So sometimes when that happens, you get a little bit complacent. But in volleyball, once that complacency hits, you start to loosen up a bit. You don't do the motion the exact same. We mentioned this earlier. Volleyball is about the slightest changes. And sometimes when you're just that little bit looser or maybe even that little bit tighter, right, you don't pass it the same. The ball's too close to the net for your setter to get a clean touch on it. And when that happens, you can't get an effective offense. And I kind of talked about this a little earlier, but mistakes compile in volleyball more so than any sport. I think if you watch a sport like basketball, you miss a couple shots, sometimes you still have the mentality to say, I know I can hit the next shot. But in volleyball, just because every point is so important, when you make those 2-3 mistakes, in your mind, you start to fade a little. And it's up to Michigan in the next set to, are they able to compile that and be like, okay, that was 1 set. We won a set, they won a set, we're tied. It's a new game essentially, it's best of 3 now. Let's go and close this out,
I almost wonder if in a game if in a set like that, if you just get the you know what, we just need to get out of here. We just need to get out of this set. There's just something in the air.
Yeah.
There's something in just the wattage, the energy, and just couldn't do anything right. So you almost wonder if they need to just get out of that set. They got the big 5-minute break between sets 2 and 3 here to just kind of reset, recalculate, and just go get a fresh start. Because really, it was nothing happening, especially when we got to the end of that set. Kent State ended that last game 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on a 10-2 run.
Yeah, I do think that Michigan just has to go into this set with a burn the tape kind of mindset. Forget what happened that last set. A lot of it, really wasn't a massive change from Kent State. And Kent State obviously did a lot of things very well, but a lot of it was just really just attributed to some errors on the Michigan side. And those were errors that they didn't commit through the previous 4 sets. And so really it's just like, okay, perhaps it was a sloppy set. Let's focus up, get better first touch. Once that first touch starts happening, once you get effective hits again, and you start to roll and that momentum starts to come back, then I think we'll be back to seeing that old Michigan team that we saw from the earlier plays.
We'll see if they're able to get it back now as we are tied at 1 set apiece.
Yeah. I want to see Michigan try to exploit those plays with Nyambio a little more. It's been one of their most effective plays so far, whether it's those back sets to the opposite or down the middle. But yeah, go to the weapons that have been working. You know, sometimes in volleyball you just need to see the ball hit the floor on the other side, just see a point, and then that helps boost the morale of the whole team, really.
Absolutely. About 2 minutes out, we want to thank you for listening to Michigan Volleyball here on WCBN Sports on YouTube. I am Tim. This is Henry. We've got you for the rest of today's game as we're now tied 1-1, Michigan and Kent State. Make sure you're subscribing to get not just the remainder of the volleyball games, but also the football games, field hockey, soccer, hockey, basketball when that comes all around. We've got you taken care of for all Michigan sporting events here in Ann Arbor, across the country. So make sure you're subscribing, following us on our socials to keep you updated on all that stuff. We'll be returning in about a minute with the action as the band tries to get this crowd on their feet.
Yeah.
Still early in the year, the non-conference games typically draw a little bit of a smaller crowd, but last year when we got into Big Ten play, especially against Ohio State, Michigan State, the Nebraska and Wisconsin games, those are some of the most attended games that Michigan Volleyball has had, and they've got a record-setting 9 games in Crisler this upcoming season, most games they've had in Crisler ever. So we're going to be seeing a lot more exposure for this team, a lot more fans coming through, some great events we've got planned. So if you're able to come to Ann Arbor, able to come to a volleyball game, make sure you're doing that because it's great atmosphere as we get into Big Ten play, especially now with a team, this last set aside, has been looking like they're going to be much better than last year's team, which was not really their fault like we talked about. They lost a lot as first-year head coach. They had a lot of injuries, but this is now a team who is looking to make some monster strides forward. And it's really going to show in how they respond to these next 3 sets that we have to play. How do they respond to going down to getting, honestly, manhandled like they just got handled this last set? How are they going to respond? How are they going to kick back? Who do they look to? What are the players that are going to step up? We do have here in this 3rd set now, Nyambio, Valuet, Jacobs, Demetrician, Burke, and Boney on the court to start. And looking over at the Kent State side, it is Brenner, White, Bolanini, Henderson, Salinas, and lastly is Knatzer.
Yeah, Kent State largely sticking with the same rotation they did the last set.
Yep.
It worked really well for them. And so looking to see how Michigan responds.
To see if they can, as it turns out that I have lied, and it is actually Cochran who will be starting, and it will not be instead of Boney. We're now in set 3 with Kent State serving, and here we go. Demetrician attacking, and they get the points, and Michigan needed that.
Great start, Michigan. Always nice to win the first point, you know.
Also nice to end that run that Kent State was trying to carry from the last game. Burke will now be serving. It's going to be layup here for Salinas, excuse me. And that point is going to go to Kent State. He's going to get a line violation on the Wolverines.
I believe they called a carry, actually, from
a carry,
Nyambio. This set was a little too low for her. Just kind of got her hand too much under the ball there.
It's going to go as an attacking error for Nyambio, and it's going to go back to Fruta's serve, and serves into the net. That is not a point for Kent State. That's a point for Michigan is what it should be. So far this set looking like all the other beginnings so far. We'll see if Michigan's able to keep it up, or they're going to slide back to the last set. McMillan in for her serves. Set from White, attack from Miller. Blocked at the net, hung on that for a second. Michigan gets to the control. And Jacobs punched it through the defense of Henderson and Miller.
Great tool from Jacobs there. Sometimes when you jump a little too early, you can't really get as much power behind the ball, but all you really have to do is, like my coach said, you just got to push it off the block. The blockers can't really do much there, so. Yeah.
And Jacobs, being one of the grad students on this team, has that kind of experience, is able to tell. As that point goes to Kent State on the attack, looks like
Salinas just really powered right through that block.
Really did. It couldn't really tell if it was that the ball went off of Valuet's hand to the pole, if Valuet touched the pole herself. There's a lot happening over there, but either way, Kent State has the point, and Henderson gets to serve. And it's a great point there for Valuet. A nice little tool there, recognizing the soft spot.
Nice to see Michigan actually capitalize on a first touch that wasn't ideal, but still got the point. If Michigan can keep doing that and, you know, kind of make up for some of the errors they have on the back line, then, yeah, it's definitely going to be a different set than the last one.
Absolutely. Seen for the first time today, number 8, Mira Chopra, the junior middle blocker. Don't see a ton from her, but every now and then she'll come in and get some of these serves and give some of the starters a breather.
Yeah, interesting to see a middle as a server, actually.
Service handled decently well. Here comes Miller on the attack. Blocked, but it goes out of bounds. That's a point for Kent State. Naimio and Cochran will be coming back in. Naimio is oh no, Cochran is coming in.
As Chopra takes the seat again.
There's a brief pause in the action as they're discussing something up at the table.
Yeah, perhaps something under review.
Antsy fans here.
Yeah. All right.
The marching band showing why they're the band, not the choir. As we are finally able to begin with Selena serving. A little bit of an awkward first touch from Jacobs. Michigan's able to recover well enough. It's going to be an attack from McGuire, and the point goes as Michigan blocks that out of bounds.
It's still nice to see Michigan still getting some touches on the net, though. Getting their hands there. Just a little bit of a quicker reaction. Just get your hands a little more further over the net, and it'll be good.
Absolutely. Salinas now serving into the net, and Michigan with the points.
Yeah, one of the things that is tricky about blocking, I was just thinking about this, but the angle of your block is just so crucial. But sometimes you can't react enough in time, and when you can't get your blocks turned inside, it just nags at you sometimes.
Awkward, absolutely. As Valuet comes in to serve, clips the top of the net, but stays over. McGuire attacking. Cochran, great way to dig it out. Jacobs is going to get the return attack, but that was blocked itself by Nadia Miller.
Yeah, the net really doing Faruda a big service there. A bit of a heater.
Yeah, it took a lot off of the serve. Nadia Miller and Kendall White were both there. Served by Miller, a little bit of trouble, and McMillan's just going to put this one over. So it's going to be a great attack chance here at the middle from Canaster. Didn't quite work. Now Valuet, miscommunication with Boney maybe, just not quite working. McGuire again, and McGuire finds a place.
Yeah. Michigan not on the same page there for two parts. I think one was the seam between obviously our libero and then the middle, the back row middle there. Yeah, and then on the net, it was a little bit of a mix-up whether they wanted to hit the C ball or the back set for the middle.
They're keeping the serve. Weird first touch of Burke, just dumps it over. McGuire, great tool there, realizing it was an empty spot and attacking.
Yeah, just seeing Jacobs just seeing that a little bit late. You know, sometimes when your block gets there, it kind of shields the attacker, and you don't really see the ball till it creeps over the block, and that sometimes is a little too late.
Miller still serving. Jacobs attacking cross court. And that reception goes way up out of bounds. That heater pops it way out of territory.
Yeah, I was just about to say that was actually a great touch from Nadia Miller. Almost reacted kind of late, was moving to her right and just shifted left to get a touch on it, but just over the line.
As now Jacobs comes in. 6-7 now here in the third set, tied up at 1 apiece. Big high arcing sets. Right up at the net. And a great kill in the center from Canaster.
Yeah, not much you can really do there. You know, sometimes you're in position, but the hit's just a little too good.
Serving now for Kent State, number 20, Kendall White. Fielded by Demetrician, who's going to get the attack. But a great dig from Delini. Michigan keeping this rally.
Scramble.
Little scramble keeps it alive, though. Kent State's going to be Salinas attacking from the center.
Great hand.
Nice job there from Jacobs. And Demetrician trying to attack, doesn't quite get a good one.
Oof.
Great dump there.
Move by Harvey.
That was a great tip there. I believe that was, who was that? That was number 17, I think. That was Alexandria Knatzer. Yeah, they've been trying, interesting, because they had Chelsea Harvey being the starting center in that first game. We have not seen Chelsea Harvey all game today, and it's been a couple different people changing those duties around. As another awkward first touch from Michigan, specifically from Ella Demetrician, gives Ella White a service ace. And Kent State again starting to go on a run. Burke sets back for Boney. No touch, out of bounds. Point for Kent State. And again, Kent just on a roll. And now comes Lydia Johnson. And number 6, Ellie White, another one of those freshmen making her debut today.
Yeah, first time seeing them.
Lydia Johnson, the sophomore, got some good play against Delaware. Haven't seen her today until now, though. Ellie White coming in to set. Some great blocking there from Henderson. And again from Henderson and Knatzer. And again from Henderson and Knatzer. 3 in a row of Demetrician, just not.
Okay.
And another one. Knatzer has been all over the place.
A monster on the net.
Blocks. And
Really?
that's gotta get time out.
Yeah, really imposing herself there. Knatzer has been. And I just remembered this. You were talking about Harvey because you said Harvey was on the court, and I realized Kendall White is actually a back row setter. So part of the reason why Michigan side probably didn't expect them to do that dump was, usually when you got a back row setter, you don't expect to dump because they're not allowed to attack the ball. And so seeing the front row attacker as a setter actually kind of messes with your rhythm because in your head you're saying back row setter. So you don't think the dump's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so even when you see somebody go for a set, even if it's not the setter, you don't instinctively you're like they're not going to dump it. So it kind of catches you off guard when they do.
So interesting. But yeah, Michigan has just been, I want to give props there. Alexandria Knatzer, the middle blockers, a redshirt sophomore, transferred from New Mexico State to Kent State to join them for this year.
Yeah.
And is showing phenomenal.
Yeah, and you mentioned actually not seeing her too much in the first game, but seeing her definitely a lot more in this game is making a big difference. Her and Harvey.
Yeah, unfortunately they don't count each of those 3 blocks she had before the last one as individual blocks. But
her and Henderson have really been, working the right side of the net, kind of shutting off the middle and the outside hitters for Michigan.
And we were talking about at the end of the first set that during that entire first set, neither team recorded the block. Since then, Kent State has recorded 7, and Michigan has still not recorded a single one. So now it's Kent State applying the pressure at the net as we return to action here. And a great attack from Henderson gets through. It's Kent State applying all its pressure at the net. Michigan finally getting one through, ending the scoring run.
Lydia Johnson in her, debut?
She was
for the season?
Debut for today. She was.
Okay.
She got some good minutes. She played. Got some good time in the Delaware game, but was not in the first game. Got some playing time last year as a freshman. Expecting to be a little bit more this year. Attack from Knatzer in the middle of the net.
Oof,
and a great job there from a couple of Wolverines to keep that ball alive. Unfortunately, doesn't last for long as Knatzer attacks in the middle. Nyambio just a little bit out of position.
Yeah,
was there for the block, just not quite.
Hard to recover sometimes after those scramble plays because, you're a little bit out of position, just trying to get the ball over, especially when Kent State's able to get the ball back on your side so quickly. Your positioning is a little messed up, but yeah.
Brenner with the serve. White sets it.
Ooh, just a little
and
touch.
A nice little one for Nyambo there. That was Ellie White with the set for Michigan. Ellie White, another one of the freshmen. She's one of 2 freshman setters. We saw Camille Edwards on Friday getting some time in with against Delaware. Ellie White, though, is from Orland Park in Illinois. We'll get more about her in a second as we get An ace for Michigan, Morgan Burke. This is now 9-13, starting to close the gap a little bit. But Ellie White gets playing time, two-time Illinois Gatorade Player of the Year for high school volleyball, so a great get for this Michigan team. But Burke back in now, and what a kill there for Jacobs, attacking right at the defender.
I was going to say, Burke might have set that a little too close to the net, but Jacobs just comes flying in, covering a lot of ground there, and just smashes it into the...
Burke still serving, and miscommunication between Brenner and Furuta. And it just falls harmlessly between them. And the second ace for Burke in this one little set. Yeah. Michigan closing that gap. This is the momentum they needed. That's immediately ended by Burke serving it into the net.
And you see Brenner and Furuta there, a little communication saying, yeah, that was my bad. Sometimes those seams are tricky because you're supposed to give it to the person on your left, but when your libero's on the right, they're technically the better, receiver. So that gets a little tricky, but yeah.
Kent State, their own service error, hearing that in the net, immediately giving that point back to Michigan, kind of bailing them out a little bit. That was Leslie Furuta, who we were just talking about. So Michigan has come back a lot, being down 6-11. Being down 6-12, excuse me, now come back to make it 12-14. Serve from McMillan, handled well. Henderson attacking. Burke digs it out. Valuet's able to save it, and Jacobs just going to try to punch it into the middle. It's laid up attack from Salinas. McMillan's there for it. Set from Burke for Nyambio in the middle.
What a pancake.
Diving there. Great job. McMillan tries to do one of her own, but not quite.
Yeah, great dive there from the back row just to keep that play alive.
Great job. Kent State's been going all out, and they've still got the 3-point lead here as we go back to Henderson to serve. And they serve over. Cochran's there for it. Burke set over for Jacobs off the hands of White. But Kent State's able to keep it alive, and Salinas actually gets a little attack there. It's going to be going back to Jacobs again, and that one's going to get through. Henderson couldn't reel it in.
Great job by Jacobs, recognizing that the block was towards the cross, hitting it down the line. I think that's kind of the intricacy between a hitter and a blocker on the other side is, you got to read the block, and you got to be like, okay, are they leaning towards more of the cross? Then I go line, or they block in line, and I go cross.
But a little bit like penalty kicks in soccer, where you've got to be, you're always anticipating how they're going to be lining up.
It is very much like a chess game, too.
Mira Chopra back in for her serves. 13-15. Michigan looking to finally close the gap. Salinas attacking.
Great touch.
Great job from McMillan. And a nice little dump from Valentina Valuet of people. That dig out from McMillan was played a little bit too close to net. And so Vela, instead of trying to get a real attacker or try to reset it, just decides, you know what? Let me be Morgan Burke for a second. Let me get a little dump in, and does so, keeping the serve with Michigan and making this a 1-point game, which was 6 points just a few moments ago. Chopra serve handled decently well. Boney's right there for pressure, and it's going to be a point for Kent State, saying they crossed the lines.
Appeared to be over the net there. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to judge, where a ball's going to be on the net. Sometimes you just reach a little too far over that net, and yeah.
Boney saw that first touch was getting popped right up at the net, and hoping to make a play was a little bit too eager. That's going to be that error. So it goes back to a 2-point lead. Kent State 16, Michigan 14. Karina Salinas serves. Michigan's going to get a good look here. It's going to be Valuet on the outside.
Great
blocked, but a great save from Boney to keep it going. Jacobs pushed it towards the back line. White setting in the middle for Miller.
The net was rattling a little bit there.
Not quite. Valuet tries to go across, but doesn't get it outside, out of bounds. 17-14.
Unfortunate for Arlette, but it was a great up by Boney there. It's that, the positioning, I think, is very crucial, I think. And when it just comes off the block and straight down, Boney was in great position there to get it up, but couldn't capitalize on the play.
Michigan's going to Jacobs again, and Jacobs splitting the defenders.
Smashing it right down the middle.
Great job. Just the classic receive.
Yeah.
Receive the serve, set it, and attack the defense. She actually threaded the needle right between White and Miller.
Yeah. White and Miller just couldn't quite get that block together in time.
And now Valuet serves. This could be a great chance for Michigan. As that reception
I believe that was a touch.
is
Kent
touched.
State, yeah.
Yes. Reception is popped right back into Michigan territory. Jacobs attacks, and it gets touched by Kent State as it goes out. So 16-17.
Yeah, Valentina Valuet reminding us how crucial her serves can be.
Valentina Valuet back to serve. Hits top of the net and gets stunted, but stays alive. So it's going to be McGuire attacking. McGuire, was it touched? It was not. Out of bounds, and Michigan ties it again.
A little bit early on the attack, couldn't quite get behind the ball. Just hits it a little too into the back.
A chance for Valuet to tie this, to get Michigan the lead.
What a serve.
Another great one. White sets to McGuire. Tipped by Burke. Burke's going to reset it now for Jacobs, who punches it over. Touched, was not. And Kent State keeps it just ahead. It's a great try from Jacobs to get it around, but not enough.
Yeah.
Serve is Miller now. Nadia Miller, who shoots it over.
Ooh. Good scramble.
A great.
And that's over the net. It is. Oh.
It was a great job for Michigan for on a bad first touch to keep it alive, and for Cochran to even get a chance to, from the back line, knock it back all the way over the net.
Just unfortunate where
White
it landed.
White was waiting right there, and there was only Boney up front. As they punch it down, 17-19. They're getting tight in this third set here. McMillan receives. That's going to be Boney attacking the opposite side. Pops it way back out, and Miller just tries to get it over. They do so. Burke's going to set here for Jacobs. Blocked, but Cochran receives it right there. Boney is trying the other side, and that one's got Fuller. Salinas attacking from the back. Fakes it out, and it is easy for Boney. Jacobs, opposite side.
What a touch. Oh, what a pancake. What a dig.
Diving pancake there, keeps it alive. Jacobs tries again. Fuller still has it. A long rally here. It's going to be McGuire attacking. Blocked.
What an,
And that finally ends it. It was Burke and Boney who finally got the block. That despite some more great efforts from the defense of Kent State, ends up with a point for the Wolverines.
I thought she may have just got enough under there to get it up. Unfortunate.
Not quite.
Great rally, though.
That was wonderful. 18-19. Jacobs to serve. Looped right in. It's going to be McGuire attacking and blocked again.
Great
by
block.
Burke and Boney. And again, Michigan ties it, but they've not been able to establish a lead to this point.
Yeah, really close game. And quite actually a decisive set in a best of three. It's always nice to get the first one.
Wonderful job there. The Michigan blockers finally coming alive and helping to turn the tide.
Yeah, you can see Burke kind of signaling there a little bit.
Ooh, are they looking to challenge? The players are still lined up, but there will be no official challenge. Looks like Coach Eckerman was looking at for a second, but decided to not. Jacobs will keep her serve. Harvey finally back in, sets, blocked. And Michigan getting the lead finally. Harvey has actually now finally made her reappearance into this game.
Great presence on the block there for Boney
and a timeout.
Demetrician.
Timeout comes, and yeah, you were just saying it. Great awareness there from Demetrician and Boney to get up for that block. Way to get it over. And it feels like the blocking has been the story of the game, because we talked about first set, no blocks period, Michigan handled it easily. Second set, Kent State started dominating the blocks of the net. Michigan still couldn't get anything. They manhandled Michigan second set, and now here we are. Michigan's defense of the net starting to come alive, and now they've got their first lead of this in a while in the second set.
Yeah, because when your team can establish a strong block, like a strong blocking presence, your hitters, you know, they start to try to maneuver around the block and they try to tip it a little bit. And obviously those are a lot easier to receive compared to like the stronger attacks. But yeah, the blocking is so crucial because it kind of like plants a seed in the hitter's mind that says, okay, they've kind of had my number for a little bit. I don't want us to smash it into the like block again. Maybe I try to angle it a little bit. When you start to think too much in volleyball, like I said with the reception, when the receiving side of it, it applies the same to the hitting side of it. When you think too much of volleyball and you don't do things naturally, then you start to make small mistakes.
Absolutely. This is the first lead Michigan's had in set 3 since the score was 4-5. They at one point were down as many as 6, and they've now stormed back thanks to a couple of great runs, a 4-0 run, a 3-1, another 3-0, another 3-0, of which they're currently in the middle of. That last 3-0 is what they're currently in the middle of, which was helping them to finally retain a lead, and especially now right at the end, if they can hold on and win this third set, it'll put them in great position for set number 4. We returned. Players have regained the court, and Jacobs serving it over. A short one there. Kent State in a hurry just gets it over. Demetrician attacking off the blockers, and point Michigan extends to a 4-0 run.
Yeah, Michigan with a 2-point cushion now could be a little more aggressive. That's been one of the things that my coach used to always say. It's nice to have a cushion, especially towards the end of the games, because you can swing a little harder on some of those serves and some of those attacks.
Jacobs readjusting, spins, tosses and sends it. Salinas coming away for that serve. Canaster attacking at the middle. A great defense from Michigan. Demetrician, her own attack is stopped. Henderson misstepping there, looks like, so has to kind of just let this one go. And Boney almost taken out. Peruta there, but gets the point.
Great way to capitalize on the free ball there. A little miscommunication. Henderson committed a little too early to her approach. Just kind of free balls and lobs it over. And then Boney just smashes it at Peruta.
Jacobs serving again. 3-point lead now for Michigan. This one again coming really close to the net. McGuire attacking outside. Blocked again by Burke and Boney. One more time. Tip this time. Burke's going to set for Boney behind. Boney going back corner, but it hit the pole. And so that goes to Kent State. It was a great attack, but looks like it just from the line judge.
Great attack. Set was maybe a little too wide.
Virtue looked for a second. She was going to maybe challenge, but it's going to let it go. White about to serve. And into the net.
Yeah, that one's got to hurt. Sometimes, you know, when you're in such a close game, you're just like, okay, let me just get it over the net. You know, let's get the rally going. But yeah, those hurt. The service errors, especially in a close game like this.
And for the fans who thought that Boney's hit maybe wasn't that bounce, in the words of the great American philosopher Rasheed Wallace, ball don't lie.
Ball don't lie.
And speaking of ball don't lie, another point for Michigan there, as we talked a little bit over that last set, but Michigan just on the reception, just a quick, easy bump and set for Nyambio at the middle of the net.
Yeah.
Haven't actually seen much of Serena this set, I feel, but she's come back in, and Cochran now serving 24-20. Michigan looking to end things here. Attack from McGuire off the hands of Nyambio and Burke, out of bounds. Point Kent State.
Great side out from Kent State. Now let's see if Michigan can do the same and just close out this set.
We're getting very close here to extra points. We'll see if we'll need them. Brenner serves. Jacobs to Burke, and miscommunication. It was an awkward first touch from Jacobs, which is really close to the net. Burke kind of said, but I think Nyambio thought she was trying to dump it, and so it's just a little miscommunication.
Yeah, and there's a timeout called by head coach here.
Virtue calls it. Looks like kind of talking to Burke about what just happened. Coach Virtue, a great setter in and of herself, played for 3 years back in Illinois before a horrible ACL injury took her out. And unfortunately, back then they didn't have all these medical red shirts and grad transfers and things. But she's a great setter over at Illinois.
Yeah, and offensive coordinator for the Michigan, for the USA
Team
women's
USA.
volleyball
Yeah,
team.
she's been with Team USA since 2018 as offensive coordinator. Also oversees a lot of their team development for all the youth teams, the under 18s, under 19s. She does a lot of work with those as well. And last year was actually late joining the season because she was doing so much in international tournaments with all those Team USA teams. So she actually joined. Not only was she a first-year head coach, she didn't arrive in Ann Arbor until late September, really, because not only was it a first-year head coach, it was also a first-year head coach who hadn't been there for a lot of the summer because she was traveling, these things. Went and got a silver medal.
And one of the best things about having a head coach on the national team, if you think about the great programs of basketball, for instance, having like Coach K being the national team coach and coaching at Duke, is you tend to recruit a lot more athletes because they want that continuity under the same coaching system of, I want to work for this coach because my goal is to make the national team and stuff like that.
And it's also great because I got to talk to Coach Virtue about like what it's like, being in Paris, surrounded by all these Olympians competing and then coming back here. And she said something that they really like to do is, on the Olympic team, they rely a lot on peer leadership, on looking at the teammates. And so they do that here as well. As Nyambia, one of these captains we're talking about, is looking to end things here. And does so, almost does so with the block.
That's on the line. What
a great job. Michigan wins a set from a Demetrician, hitting that back line.
Great hit from Demetrician, but great instincts there from Salinas.
Set up great.
Hit it into the block. Dug up her own miss.
Set up great, but as Michigan finally able to pull through 25-22, as we'll have about 2.5 minutes before the last set. Hopefully will be the last set. We'll go set number 4. Michigan up 2-1. Michigan can win this 4th set and end the game. If Kent State wins, we go to the 15-point 5th set. But yeah, you really saw Michigan come alive there at the end of that 3rd set.
Yeah, we've been harping on this kind of the whole game, but the net has been the defining factor, I think, in all 3 of these sets. If we look at, the first game, nobody had a block, but Michigan's attack-wise, had a much stronger attack in the 2nd set. Kent State had 5 blocks to Michigan 0, and I think that really showed. And then this 3rd set, Michigan 7-3 in terms of, actually, Michigan is 3-7 in terms of blocks, but Michigan is much more effective in terms of attacking on the net. And yeah, I think just the presence on the net from both blocking and attacking has been the deciding factor for the most part. And
I think we've been talking so much about blocks. That 2nd set, Kent State 5, Michigan 0. In this 3rd set, Michigan 3, Kent State 2. And Michigan was able to finally get over that hump.
Yeah.
It was a great job finally starting to see some more confidence come back into the team after you really start to see it kind of fade at the end of that 2nd set. But going back to what we were talking about, and that does go back to what we were talking about with Coach Virtue and Team USA. I was talking to her after the game on Friday, and she said that one thing that they do in Team USA, like I was mentioning, is it's team leadership. It's not just the coaches setting the culture and everything. They go to a players. They look to a lot of those players, those athletes, to do that after to set the culture themselves, to lead each other. And she brings that same energy here. She talks about, not just the 3 leadership committee that she's assigned to Boney, Jacobs, and Nyambia, essentially the captain's team, but it's also Maddie Cochran, a senior who's been here forever and is now taking over that libero role from Hannah Grant, who was libero for 4 years here, stepping in some really big shoes. How she's kind of helping to coordinate the team. How these girls, during the summer, in those periods where there's no official team activities, they were still just themselves getting together and doing workouts and playing some pickup and doing some scrimmaging. It's that kind of team motivation that's going to be so great. It's going to carry this team into bigger and better things for the season.
Yeah, exactly. No, and like I said, in the future seasons, it's so nice to have a coach that has, standing in terms of like the volleyball community, because you do bring in better recruits. You have transfers, for instance, from Alabama that come over, like we have this year. There's a lot to look forward to in terms of Michigan volleyball in the future.
And Coach Virtue does also have a pretty good history when it comes to recruiting. She was actually, before head coach, was here in 2011, 2015, where she was the recruiting coordinator as well as being the offensive coordinator. She also worked at, where else did she work? She worked at Cincinnati, I believe it was. She was down at Cincinnati where she handled recruiting there for a few years as well before getting involved with Michigan and getting involved in Team USA. So Coach Virtue is someone who's been around college volleyball and youth volleyball for a very, very long time. He has this kind of connections. And we're already kind of seeing it, like we talked about earlier. Elliot White was a 2-time Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Illinois. We've got a bunch of great freshmen who are, all tournament teams, were all national teams, who were ranked, top in their states, who have all now come to Michigan to play for Coach Virtue, and with some of the great talent we've got here. And that great talent has now regained the floor, as is the fourth set. Michigan up 2-1. Michigan can end the game here with a nice, clean win. Has no man at the moment. And we're going to begin with a Maddie Cochran serve. Challenge at the net was Demetrician. Nyambio there as well. A little bit of scrapping back and forth. Michigan gets it. It's going to be Jacobs in the front, but she hits the net.
Yeah, Jacobs just trying to hit that pipe. Unfortunate. Hits it into the net there. But yeah, early point for Kent State as Brenner looks to serve here. Just floats one over.
Burke sets here for Nyambio in the middle. And a great job from Nyambio just to put it right in that soft spot in the middle.
Yeah, great tip by Nyambio there. We kind of know her as a power hitter for the first couple of sets, but yeah, recently she's been incredibly smart with where she's putting the placement of the ball more so than the power.
Burke serving now for the Wolverines. A little bit of an awkward first touch from Brenner. Just going to kind of put it over. Still almost got the point there on a not superficial attack. Lydia Johnson, Demetrician. 9s and 5s look similar. Michigan able to keep it going. Valuet attack over and too much.
Yeah, unfortunately, just sends it out the back there.
We've seen that a lot from Valuet, who just kind of puts too much sometimes. She's very, very powerful, but when she doesn't hit it clean, is prone to have some of those errors.
Yeah, and that's we were talking about this, the boomer bust of having a power hitter like that. Is when they connect well, it's a great spike, but then sometimes they have those errors.
Serve from Faruda. Michigan's able to return it over. It's going to be an attack from Miller at the front. Michigan handles it, and Valuet on the back going after Faruda, and that's out of bounds off the chest.
Yeah. Salinas just couldn't quite chase it down. Tried to run around the ref there.
It's almost a strategy for Valuet at this point to literally just, I'm getting as hard as I can at you because I know that you can't control the way you want to.
Sometimes it's really hard to react in time for this.
One of those common interactions you'll see is from the hand of Valuet to the arm of the defender to the third row here in Crisler, but
exactly.
Tied at 2 now. Michigan got the serve. It's Trixie McMillan back in, and it gets worked over to Nyambio with the kill there.
Yeah, going back to Valuet and her hits at Faruda, when that ball is going kind of right at your chest, it's hard for you to decide whether or not you're going to bump it because it seems too high for a bump but also too low for a set, so you kind of get confused. But yeah, those are hard.
Catch you a little bit at no man's land of, especially when you can get kind of caught high up, that's where those mistakes tend to happen.
Exactly.
But we got Trixie McMillan now. Faruda has to go down to a knee for that one. Henderson attacking.
Great reaction there from Nyambia.
Gets it through, and a great heads-up play from Jacobs. Seeing that ball was just hanging at the net and just pushes it straight through. 4-2 now. Michigan maintaining a little bit of that momentum that they had.
Out to an early lead.
McMillan still on the serve. And that one's just a little bit too much going out there.
Yeah, just sails right beyond the back line there. But McMillan has had some success in terms of serving for Michigan.
Especially when you consider this is only her third game. Her third game in 2 days as Wolverine. She's already comfortable taking these many serves. It's a great sign. Serve from Henderson. Jacobs gets first touch and is going to get the attack. Was blocked at the net by White. Going to try again from Jacobs. This time just a little more finesse to it. Gets it over. Try it for a third time, but again White is right there. Just basically playing pancake at this point. Valuet finally is able to sneak it over. This time we're going to try Nyambio at the middle. That's another great little rally there.
Though, by Jacobs.
But look at a little off speed. And then the finishing blow from Jacobs. Yeah, a little like off speed there, is going back and forth. She's like, let me get this out of here. Now almost kind of caught, even though it was like a slow hit, it caught Kent State off guard because they weren't expecting it.
Jacobs, a really smart play there. That's one of the things that a lot of volleyball coaches teach is if you're going to give a free ball, there's two places you really want to send it. You either want to send it far corner or you want to send it at the center. Far corner because people are so congregated towards the front because that's where the ball is centered. When you send it back, they really have to hustle, and that was a great play by Jacobs.
Great way to keep it alive. Set herself up for the kill after that. Chopra now serving, and Chopra serving it into the net.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chopra just hitting the top tape.
Yeah.
As we see some substitutions, perhaps.
A little tough. Cochran coming back in as Chopra comes back out. Karina Salinas now serves it over. Burke's going to set over for Jacobs. Blocked. It was Miller and White who were there for it.
Yeah, great block there.
White has been, we saw that last little rally where Jacobs basically playing patty cake for a while there.
Exactly.
But White, these last couple points, has been on it, right on her timing.
Yeah, Kent State really stepping up in terms of the middle block, and a little bit of a mishap there for
An ace for Karina Salinas was right at Trixie McMillan, who, like we were talking about earlier, just one of those like weird in-between ones where it's just caught her up on the biceps, and it just died right there and rolled to the ground. This one, though, Michigan's able to handle much better. Jacobs on the far side, blocked again, but out of bounds, so Michigan will get the point to tie it back up.
Yeah, this time Jacobs really putting some power behind that one. Sends it off the block and sends it out of bounds.
It's going to be back to Owlette to serve.
You know she's got that rifle of an arm.
She does, and it's in. Kent State thought it was going out, so they let it go, but it drops in the last second and drops in.
Yeah, and that's a big difference, I would say, between a jump serve and a float serve. A lot of people, I think in women's volleyball, that tend to do floats, but the jump serve, just that rotation on the ball causes it to dip at the end, which is what we see from Olette here.
Does it again this time, though. Nice little handle there. Miller attacking, blocked at the net. It's staying right over there, and Boney.
Wow, what an up by Salinas there.
Goes over, but yeah, Selena had a great job saving that. Kent State just gets it over. Burke's going to set back for
Great hit.
Boney. That's a point for Michigan. It's off the defense.
Yeah, left him one-on-one there, and for that time, just couldn't quite block that one.
And it's against
McGuire.
what we've been talking about. Whenever Morgan Burke can get a clean set for one of her outsides or opposites, it's over. Another missile there.
A lot of heat on that one.
Finds its way to the student section off the arms of Furuta.
Yeah, almost hit our DJ there.
You know how much money that equipment costs? Actually, that was Tylee Fuller who attacked on that last one. Let's see if she can get a second in a row here.
Great
And she
serve.
does. Again, that one dropping. It's this time instead of dropping at that back line to sneak in, as timeout is called.
Yeah, that's
that one dropped.
serve.
That one dropped right in the middle of just a group of defenders. No one knew whose ball it was, and no one could get under in time because of the velocity of which it was just tanking.
Yeah, because when the ball's coming at you, like I was talking, because of the rotation of the ball, it tends to drop. But when you're looking at it at first, it looks like you're going to set yourself up in a platform. But then when it starts to drop, you have to adjust, and that adjustment is what kind of messes up your form. And sometimes you can't get a good contact on it. But yeah, Kent State falling behind a little bit. This 4-point lead built up from Olette's serves. So far, she's given Michigan 4 points off 4 serves.
A 5-0 run.
Yeah.
3 of those being outlet aces.
So Kent State looking to side out here. Hopefully can get themselves back in the groove of things.
Yeah. Like we were talking about with Michigan back in that game too, you're just gonna get yourselves out of this moment and then reset from there.
Yeah, sometimes your coach really doesn't have much to say to you. They just call a timeout to kind of ice the server a little bit. And we'll see how that affects.
And to also give the players a second to take a breath.
Recompose themselves a little bit, yeah.
to be like, hey, I know it's coming at you like a
Yeah.
World War II shell, but take a second. If you can just get it in play and we get a point here, they're out, and we can go back to our own work.
Yeah, and you can see him, Kent State kind of shielding the middle, I think.
Definitely trying to counteract, playing 4 deep here. They've got Fuller on the back line, basically. Ella serves in and hits the net. I think they were kind of baiting her because they left that front right part wide open. They were kind of baiting her, and that's where Ellet's serve fell short, was trying to get into that front corner.
Yeah.
So good timeout there for strategy from Coach Eckerman. It's now going to be number 8, Nadia Miller, serving cross. Burke set for Jacobs.
Great hit by Jacobs.
And Jacobs gets it through again.
Yeah, Jacobs has been incredibly successful when she's able to kind of just thread the needle with the block. And yeah, once again, found the gap. Kind of rattled a little bit off the inside of the block, kind of distorted it for the receiver there, but yeah.
And
great
now
hit.
here comes Jacobs for the serve. And again, the changeup after the missiles of Valuet. Selena's attacking center net, hits it into the net. Point Michigan, just an unforced error there. When things like that happen, is that Henry? Is that a matter of jumping too early? Is it just getting too on top of it? When you see things like that?
Well, it really is a combination of everything. Sometimes the ball's not in the exact place that you want it. Sometimes you don't get the perfect approach. But yeah,
Tough looking there for Celise, who's been having a good game so far.
certainly has.
And that's a great block there. Boney and Burke on the corner.
Once again, I feel like I've been saying that a lot with Boney and Burke on the block. But yeah, great blocks by them. You know, for a setter, Burke, really strong presence on the net, on the defense as well.
Oh, she's been all over the place today. And that was McGuire's attack that just couldn't get through. Jacobs keeping the serve. Michigan has been on an absolute tear. A dump there from White, but Michigan was ready for it. It's going to be a kill there. That's Demetrician, who was on the far side, coming across to the back.
Yeah, Demetrician really targeting that far right corner on the Kent State side. It's interesting because you noticed the libero was pushed up really high. Salinas didn't shift over quite enough to cover that ground, but yeah, great spot there.
Michigan's on a 9-1 run at the moment, which is probably the biggest we've seen today.
Yeah, that just
And it's
hit
another
the antenna.
point for Michigan as McGuire's hit the net with the ball, which rattled the pole enough. So even though it made its way through because it clipped that pole, it's out of bounds. It's now a 10-1 run.
And here comes a substitution. Brenner back in the court.
Lots of open room in the middle there for Jacob's serve. It's going to be set back there to Canaster.
Great play from Kent State.
Good job there. Just needed a point there. Set it in the middle for Knatzer, who's been having a great game blocking. Now gets a little kill there for herself. Kind of ends that run. It's now only 10-2. And it's White serving. Brooks going to set back for Boney.
What a hit by Boney.
And right back to it. Michigan is just back on it. They struggled a little. They struggled heavily in the second set and the beginning of that third set, but they've brought it all the way back now.
Yeah, Boney's a lot of success with just clipping the outside of that block, you know, tooling it really well.
Cochran now serving. White sets. It's Knatzer in the middle.
Yeah, I think that set might have been just a little too low for Knatzer. Couldn't quite get on top of the ball. You know, just floated it a little too high.
I
She
keep
would have
wanting to
liked.
say Knatzer, but it's Knatzer, and that's what's throwing me off every time. Anyways, here it comes. Cochran serving it over. It clipped the net, so it messed up the timing a little bit, but doesn't matter because the block from Burke and Nyambio
Yeah,
were right
Brenner's
there.
hit just sent right back down. And here comes another timeout from Kent State.
And it's a 10-point lead now.
Yeah, Coach Eckerman really trying to get our girls back on page. They had a lot of success in the second and third set, and I think it just kind of lose on a bit of the composure they had, maybe a little bit of the confidence.
It's also nice what you can see between Kent State being a MAC school versus Michigan being a Big Ten school, which sometimes with these smaller schools coming in, you can kind of surprise, you can kind of get that edge for a set or two, but it's very hard to maintain that for the full 3 sets because at a certain point, just the talent and the experience of some of these Michigan players is just going to be too much. Like we keep talking about how creative Allison Jacobs has been. She is in her 5th year playing collegiate volleyball. She spent 2 years at UCLA before transferring, playing her junior year here at Michigan, being out her whole senior year, where she was pretty much the only thing she could do was just to watch the games, to watch film, and just think. She couldn't play because she has shoulder injury, so she couldn't even practice hitting because that was just out of it. And same thing with Boney. She's been a senior. She's been starting for 3 years, being that middle blocker. As a sophomore even, she was getting tons of playing time, was second on the team in blocks. Last year was one of the only people that stayed. Now this year is the captain.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing that kind of experience from these girls who have played at the top level for so long, being able to use all those different angles that we've been talking about, and the different tools that have been coming out.
Yeah,
and same thing with Maddie Cochran, who's also senior, who's got a lot of like role player playing time, but now is the head, being that libero. And that serve now as we are back from action. A crazy little interaction there as Michigan's able to kind of retrieve a very aggressive attack there. They're going to get
great hit by Jacobs.
And that's Allison Jacobs in the middle. We were just talking about her.
Yeah, flying out of the back row and really just
rising
nailing
up
the back line.
Rising up right at that 3-meter line.
Yeah, didn't see much of that in the first couple of sets, but definitely seeing it a lot more this time.
Cochran still serving. White's going to set for Henderson. Henderson tools it over. And a great job because it was right in that little soft spot where everyone was going every other direction.
Yeah, just over the net. And Burke and I believe it was Nyambio might have committed to the ball at the same time. One of them got a touch and
just sent it rocking the other way. We're just no one was. Back to Brenner to serve.
Good swing.
Not the best set from Burke. Doesn't matter. It was a little bit of a Demetrician was a little bit not able to get a clean look at it, so that meant Burke couldn't get a clean set. But didn't matter because Demetrician was still able to rise up at the net and get it over. Burke now serving. And service ace. Yeah. Bolanini couldn't bring it in. Actually sent it to our timekeeper over there. 4 points away. Burke into the net. Gives it right back. Kent State now at 10. That was an insane run that Michigan had. The score went from being 6-5 off of an ace from Karina Salinas to now 21-10.
Yeah, that's pretty good run from Michigan as we see an ace here.
And yeah, I was about to say, as if on cue talking about their last ace, here's now another ace from Leslie Ferruta. Just trouble receiving that one, did Michigan. 21-11. This one is going to be a clean set right for Nyambio. Right at the middle.
Yeah, Nyambio just drops the hammer inside of the 3-meter line there. That used to be a goal of mine when I played volleyball. To just hit it as short as possible.
Just to get it as much under that, which always seems, like the couple times I've gone and played pickup volleyball, always seems so insane how when you're hitting like that to get the down trajectory.
You really do have to get over that ball to hit it that far down.
And in comes Tracy McMillan now to serve. Returned well. Nyambio, a little fake out punch over, but Kent was ready for it. Blocked by Burke and Nyambio, but Kent State Henderson still able to get it over. Burke to set for Nyambio, again in the center, and again a little punch, but Henderson dives and keeps it alive. Salinas gets it over. Burke's going to set. Nyambio, third time's the charm for Serena Nyambio.
Yeah, the first couple, maybe just a little too low for Nyambio to really get that power behind it. That last one at a perfect height, she just smashes that one home.
There's also those first couple ones. There's a defender right there, so she kept trying to like work it around. She lofted. That time she was just able to fully get it.
Yeah.
Almost a real problem there as the server from McMillan was handled
Yeah.
poorly. Kent State returns it, but so sent right back.
And Burke and Nyambia really just getting whatever they want at this point. And Burke going back for more for Nyambia every single time.
3 straight points from the Burke assist to the Nyambia kill. Trixie McMillan to end the game. Henderson gets it over. Brenner puts it back. Cochran to Burke to Nyambia. Oh, I wanted that so bad. They handled it well though. Cochran digs.
Go.
Burke sets. Nyambia blocked.
Oh.
McMillan's going to be Jacobs on the outside. Blocked again. Cochran again digging. Burke setting this time for Jacobs, who pushes it. Not quite.
Let's see what Kent State can do here.
Henderson over. Dug out by Burke. Cochran's going to set it. Valuet. Cross court. Touched. Was not touched.
But yeah, you can see Burke
they wanted
really
Nyambia.
looking for Nyambia.
They wanted to be ending it with 4 straight points from Nyambia. They had a couple chances, but some great defense there from the front line. Miller and White, from Bolognini, the libero.
Yeah, I know what you can expect from this.
Except for
one,
Burke, Nyambia, they're going back to that well time and time again, but they were right for it this time. Miller going.
Oh, what an up. Oh, unlucky. But Cochran really diving across the floor there.
Really went for it. It was
just to get a touch on it.
It was a hard hit from Henderson. McMillan just kind of popped up. Cochran did a great job coming over trying to save it, but yeah, just a little bit short. Tylee Fuller serving again. Cochran gets it over to Burke, who sets up for Jacobs. Jacob just puts it over. And a great job there from Sleens to keep it alive. It's Brenner from the back line. Diving save there from McMillan. Cochran and Burke just slides it back over. White's going to set here. Miller, and it gets down. Nyambia was there for the block. Oh, it's 14, excuse me. And went off her hands.
Yeah, Kent State
got a little bit of run.
Bit of a late run here.
I will say it's a little
late.
It's a classic case of too little, too late.
But you never know. You know, some miracles do happen.
Still Tylee Fuller. Sends. Cochran to Burke. Outside. Jacobs blocked.
Oof.
Gets over. And Kent State's able to just push it back across. Nyambia saves it. Jacobs going to try again. Works it over. Diving Fuller keeps it alive. Salinas again right to Cochran. Burke's going to set outside for Jacobs. Blocked. And out of bounds. And it ends with Jacobs.
Yeah, Jacobs and Nyambia really just trying to get that ball down.
Went to work in those last couple points.
Yeah.
But that will do it today in Ann Arbor. 25-14 at the end of the fourth set. Michigan wins 3-1. I was looking a little bit dire there for a second. Michigan, after winning that first set, 25-18, a dominant fashion after winning that first game earlier today, and also in a very similar fashion. Then we got to the second set, and they could only muster up 12 points as Kent State went to just bulldoze them. You started to get a little nervous of maybe the Michigan's getting tired. Maybe Kent State found something. Maybe they changed strategies that's working. And they opened that third set in a very similar way. Michigan came back in that third set, won it 25-22. Then in set 4 here, went on a tear, an absolute run. I'll get the exact numbers on that run in a second. But they dominated this fourth set, won it, and starts the season out 3-0. 3-0, excuse me, I should say. 3 wins, no losses in the Nike Michigan Classic here to open up volleyball weekend here for NCAA.
And kudos to Kent State. I think really put on a better showing, this game. Doing a lot that second set. I think caught Michigan a little bit off guard with some of the things they were doing. Much stronger on the net. But Michigan, just the talent they have on that side, and obviously with the coaching, you expected them to kind of gain their composure again, and that's what they did. But yeah, Michigan, great start to the season. We obviously expect this season to be a little better than the last, and hopefully they're able to carry this momentum in terms of winning games forward. I love to see a lot of the things they were trying out in this game. I think this game they did a lot of experimenting, whether that's with more pipes with Jacobs from the back row, mixing in a lot of things with Nyambia, really going back to her, and that's really been successful for them. But yeah, moving forward, kudos to Kent State. But yeah, love to see Michigan winning volleyball games.
Great job, and especially they can keep doing things like the 17-3 run that they had,
exactly.
Which was insane. They can keep pulling off things like that. They're going to be great this year. But yeah, you say yourselves, this is a Michigan team. Talking to a couple of them the other day, this team knows how good they are. They know that the conversation last year was Michigan's not good. They know that a lot of people are going to see them as such, but knowing that they've got some talent, they've got some dogs in there, they're really going to be able to press and make some really good plays, some really good runs this year. And I'm very excited to see here for final stats for some of today's game. On the Michigan side, Allison Jacobs led with 19 kills, was followed by Serena Niambio with 17. Demetrician had 7. Boney had 7. Outlet had 5. Kendall Ray had 3, even though she didn't really play as much in those last couple. She actually didn't play the last 2 sets. And then Lydia Johnson, Morgan Burke each had 1 apiece. Burke had 47 assists on 60 kills. She's going to have an incredible career here at the university.
Yeah.
Jacque Boney had 4 total blocks, as did Morgan Burke. Demetrician and Niambio each got credit, even though there was plenty more in there that didn't get officially counted. That was the official numbers. Cochran 13 digs, Outlet had 15, and Jacobs had 14. And really, like, Allison Jacobs, 19 kills, 14 digs. And in the earlier game today, having 4 kills and 4 kills, 6 digs. Like, this is what leading with 16 kills on the Friday game versus Delaware. This is what Michigan missed last year. Like, Kendall Murray was still great, but we needed more than just Kendall Murray. And
I think
Allison Jacobs was what was missing.
Yeah, the diversity on the offense in terms of you can go to the outside, you can go down the middle, you can go the opposite, and you can go back row. Yeah. Like, just having those weapons available to you make you less predictable as an offense, and
that you don't need the same player to be showing it every single game. Because, like, first game, like, it was Outlet who led all players with 8 kills and had 4 aces in that first game. This next game, she was a lot quieter. Like I said, she only had 5 kills. She had the same 4 aces, though, so she is still this team's best server that they've got in terms of just getting those aces consistently and just putting the other team in a just bad way whenever it comes to it. And also, surprisingly, for being an outside and an opposite, led the team in digs. Like, she's still a very, very solid defensive player who can fly around and get what she needs to. But the story of this last game was obviously Allison Jacobs and Serena Niambio with some great blocking in the middle from Jacque Boney. And that was really safe in that end of the 3rd set, and for that 4th set, it was what really, really mattered.
Yeah, and I mean, just as a defense, you're trying to look. If an offense is one-dimensional, it's so easy to just key in on that. But yeah, just all the weapons Michigan has this year is very exciting to see how they move forward.
It'll be very interesting to see how this goes. We're going to wrap things up here. Thank you for being here for the doubleheader Sunday that we've had with Michigan Volleyball against Kent State. Michigan coming away with a clean win in both. Starting the season off 3-0, which is a great. We're already about a half of the wins we had last year. So we're a great start, really. And the team is just looking so great. The new pieces, and the new and returning pieces, and Kendall Ray and Allison Jacobs, and some of the freshmen like Demetrician. We saw Ellie White for a little bit. We saw Camille Edwards, on Friday. They're all looking great. Lydia Johnson's had her a couple of moments where she's been good. Cochran is doing really great, kind of taking over that libero role. Has been doing great with that. We'll be here all season long with Michigan Volleyball. The next game is Wednesday the 4th against Eastern Michigan. I will unfortunately be unable to come for that game. Maybe someone else will. Maybe my good buddy Henry, now that he's got a little bit of understanding. Maybe he will. But maybe someone else will. I'm not trying to put that on you right now, my guy. But that's the next game. Check back here. This is why you should subscribe to WCBN to see if we will have that ready for you guys. But if not, you can definitely check it through other means. We'll still be here for the rest of the season. Make sure you're getting that for all the other games as well. Signing off, Ivan, Tim.
This is Henry. Thank you, guys.
Have a great evening, and as always, have a great Labor Day weekend, actually. Any good plans, Henry?
Extended weekend. Not really. Probably just going to,
catch up on rest. Absolutely, yeah. But I hope you all enjoy your Labor Day weekends as well. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, go blue. And we're off.
All right. Great job.